So you've been in in the Nirvana for 2 years. What is your brightest memory of that time span of your life?
Well, I would have to say some of the touring that we did a lot because we toured in a very small van, and it was before everything got really big. But it was like it was sort of I don't know, it was a good feeling to just kind of like do our own thing. We didn't really have anybody else but ourselves. There wasn't like a tour manager with us or anything, so we're just kind of on the road, just following our nose as we go, and I don't know. It's just something about just seeing places and going to different places to play. I've always just loved that, and it's a lot of fun doing that with those guys.
So when you recorded your first album, Bleach, your friend borrowed your money or paid for the recording costs. How was it to start with so little and then become this huge mega superstar in the world?
Well, I'd have to say to begin with, I think we got pretty lucky to actually make the record that we did for only 600 US dollars. Because that's, I know that the very next time I ever made a record, it cost a lot more than that. So it's kind of a rare thing. I think it's just one of those things that you never really know when you go in the studio and you record, and somehow, I guess it was just magic there that week or something. Because it only took us just a little over a week just to record the record, so it didn't even take that long to record it either. But yeah, I look back on it now and I think, wow, how did we ever do that?
What have fans told you, or do fans tell you their stories about their experiences with the album Bleach, or have how has it affected them, for instance?
Yeah, I've had a few people come up, and mostly, I've had people come up and they tell me about how, like their father, for instance, was a really huge fan, and which I assume, he probably turned them on, to Bleach, and it's great because, it's it's a younger generation, of course, and I would have never guessed 30 years ago that Nirvana would still be relevant. And so when that happens, people come up and say, "Oh, this album changed my dad's life, and it's a great record." It's kind of a wow sort of feeling. It's good.
What do you have to say for all the Nirvana fans now who are maybe not the first generation fans, but the second or even third generation fans? What is the most important thing about Nirvana to you?
Well, I think the most important thing to me is, well, to begin with, music is just always about connecting and reaching out to people and sharing. And so the important thing to me is that Nirvana did that. It's great to know that Nirvana had such an effect that so many people enjoyed listening to the band and still do to this day. It's pretty amazing, and I really love that.
But today, 30 years after Bleach, what has Nirvana taught you?
Well, I think mostly it's taught me that you just never really know what can happen in your life. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, 30 years ago, I never would have guessed that I'd see myself here, for example. And so it's like, if you work hard at something and persevere, you never know what's going to happen. It's definitely, showed me that music is definitely everlasting and will just continue to go, long after I leave this earth.
Let's jump into music of today, the music of right now. Do you think there's a band or an artist that will be as iconic as Nirvana is now?
I really don't know, but I think at one point maybe that question was asked to the Beatles. Because, I mean, for me, the Beatles were like, wow, I don't know how anybody could top that, and Beatlemania and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I had no idea that Nirvana was ever going to get as big as it got, and it kind of surprised me. But yeah, I just I guess it's just possible that, maybe one day there could be another band that comes around and just changes the whole scene of music again. Um, I guess you could say never. So you never know. It's possible.
Thank you so much, and best of luck for tonight.
Thank you very much for having me, and I really enjoy it. Take care.